From jealousy over a growing career to a trade that wasn't looked at with joy. There are many reasons why Michael Jordan doesn't like Scottie Pippen. First off, Jordan and Pippen were never the best of friends. Surprised to hear that? Why would you be? They've never shown they're BFFs. Sure, the two of them aren't exactly mortal enemies, but their relationship has always been strained.
We needed each other to be successful, but I think he needed me more.
Apparently, Scottie was NBA's best and the most underrated sidekick. If you haven't watched The Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls documentary, well then, what are you waiting for?
My mentality was to go out and win at any cost.
If you're a Michael Jordan fan or even a basketball fan, you've got to watch it. But don't watch it if you're a Pippen fan, because he's not painted in the best light. Anyway, he was his sidekick during both three-peat championships, and he wasn't shown what an asset he could be in the documentary though. Jordan said only some nice things about Pippen.
Come on, man, let's go. Where you going?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
You hear that?
Come on.
No, Captain. Let's go.
Y'all miss out on this.
That's entertainment.
And one of them was that whenever they speak of Michael Jordan, they should mention him. Everybody says Jordan won these championships, but he didn't win without Pippen.
Well, not just push Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen pushed me. You know what I mean? It was this big brother, little brother scenario.
That's why he considers him the greatest teammate of all time. I'm not saying that, Jordan is. But he wasn't given this respect when he was part of the team.
That I had earned my right to take that last shot. I felt like he disrespected me at that moment.
Right now, sure, he's taking his name with respect. But back then, this wasn't the case. Even the manager at the time wasn't appreciative of his skill and wanted to trade Pippen in for a younger player. And he knew what a gem he was. When he eventually left the Bulls to play for the Houston Rockets, Jordan wasn't happy. And that's also one of the biggest reasons their relationship worsened. The two were the greatest teammates ever. They won championships together. And everyone knew what a scary duo they made.
But I don't think I would be successful without him. I think we both complemented each other in a lot of different ways. And we kind of competed and pushed each other to be great.
So when Pippen traded to the Rockets, Jordan felt like he was leaving him behind, which wasn't exactly the case. The player went over to people who would respect him, something he wasn't getting when he was part of the Bulls squad. And on top of that, he was also in Jordan's shadow because, let's face it, he was the star of the show. And Pippen was just a sidekick. But he was far from being just that. His growing talents and his popularity with the ladies were a problem for Jordan. He was jealous. On court, they were two great players performing together, but off it, not so much. Sure, Michael is considered one of the greatest basketball players to ever hit the NBA, and he's the envy of many players on the court. But Scottie Pippen was the guy he was jealous of. While he commanded attention on the pitch, it was his teammate who was popular among the ladies, and that often didn't sit well with the king. According to the Bulls manager at the time, it was something that killed Michael. You should have seen the girls Pippen had waiting for him everywhere he went. According to a biographer, Madonna used to pick him up in a limo, which would end in the two of them indulging in some fun when the Bulls played in LA. It's claimed that Jordan would often try to get in the singer's good graces, but she didn't give him the time of the day. The story sure is spicy, but it's not confirmed by either of the two. What is for sure is that Jordan and Pippen never shared an off-court relationship. The player revealed, once he'd hung up his boots, that Michael was bigger than the game. Even during his initial arrival in Chicago, he was a big, iconic figure in the NBA. So he never really shared an off-court relationship. Their relationship between the lines was impeccable though. They pushed each other to be great. They trained each other to be the best too. But off the court, nuh-uh, they never liked each other much. Oh, and it didn't help their relationship when Jordan retired in 1998, and Pippen took over as the leader of the Bulls. Now, suddenly the guy who wasn't appreciated enough during Jordan's time was suddenly leading the team.
I mean, he was a great scorer, but a lot of things that he did was based on him as an individual. And I think basketball is a team game.
And of course, Jordan was jealous of that too. So there are two reasons now, huh? One was Pippen packing some in his pants, and the other was how the guy made his name in the NBA. But there was one more reason that made the star player not like Pippen much. The Last Dance showed how he rubbed Michael the wrong way. The documentary made it clear that MJ thought about Pippen's last-second decision to have surgery, which was right before the 97-98 season. He thought it was wrong. The documentary talks about the origin stories of Jordan and Scottie Pippen. We learn about their upbringing, their development into superstars, and their relationship. A whole bunch of guest speakers made appearances, including 2 former US presidents.
Michael Jordan and the Bulls changed the culture.
The juicy stuff comes in during episode 2, and it turns out, to this day, they very much don't see eye to eye about how the latter handled his offseason preparations. The preparations that were the lead up to their final run together. If you don't know the context, well, I'm here for that. During the 1997 Eastern Conference Finals, Pippen ruptured a tendon in his ankle, an injury he continued playing through. The Bulls ended up defeating the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals. He averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, 1.7 steals, and 1.8 blocks in 42.8 minutes per game. Mind-blowing still. But then came the offseason. That was the year of his dramatically underpaid 7-year contract to come out in the open. Oh, and it was an $18 million contract. So yes, there was a lot of anger from Scottie. He'd been one of the best players in the game for many years. He had done so much for the Bulls. And his frustration bubbled over. Why wouldn't it? Anyone in his place would be furious, and that's when he was done. He didn't have ankle surgery, at least initially. Instead, he leisurely enjoyed his summer, a middle finger move pointed directly at Bulls GM Jerry Krause. He wasn't a very good guy, and was a key keg in the Bulls dynasty. Chicago players, especially these two, regularly made fun of and openly criticized Krause. But right before the season started, Pippen decided to have the surgery after all, which put him out of action for months. Decades later, Pippen doesn't have any regrets. He said he decided to have surgery late because he was like, you know what? I'm not going to F my summer up trying to rehab for the season. And even though Jordan wasn't a fan of Krause, he strongly disagreed with the way Pippen handled the business. Scottie was wrong in that scenario. He still says that. He could have gotten the surgery done as soon as the season was over. Now that the season started and they knew he wasn't going to be around, they needed to find some other way to win. Of course, that was going to be hard. But Jordan, never one to forget a slight, was upset about Pippen's last-second surgery in 1997, and wasn't very forgiving of the following trade demand either. He thought his teammate was being selfish. So, sure, the two might have a cordial relationship now, but it'll be safe to say that the two of them aren't ever going to be friends. Ever. Because The Last Dance makes it very clear that they aren't quite on the same page about what went down during the end of their Chicago Bulls careers, and throughout. Well, that's it from my side. What else do you think Jordan hates about Scottie Pippen? See you all in the next video.